Tuesday, October 15th, market analysis. Stan Ehrlich, good morning, 10:07 California time. And we have a little bit of a dip this morning with some interesting possibilities. I'm talking the stock market indexes, then I go to futures, and sometimes I go to crypto or forex or cycles, a variety of things. Now, this morning, we do not have a higher high for the trend. That was yesterday on a very strong up day on a good close near the highs, which oftentimes leads to a turn down. Now, I'm not saying necessarily the beginning of a bear move or a bear market or something like that, but yes, that's oftentimes what happens. Now, I don't have a reversal. We didn't get higher than yesterday, and we're not overbought, but extremely close on the E-mini, extremely close, but no yellow. So it'll turn yellow if we get over 75. Got most of what I want, but not everything on the E-mini. I do think it's going to slip back at least to probably 58.18, a little below 58.20. That's not much. My first real expectation, and it's very minor still, I'm not expecting this to be the October lows, which again has been spectacular the last few years and has a track record of over 90% since 1993. And over 90% of the time, you've had a decent or spectacular buying opportunity in October, like the last couple of years in particular. Maybe this year it won't happen. I don't know. There's no guarantee. But you should be aware of it and, well, look to see if something happens that could start a big break. And we do have those possibilities at hand. Next chart is the 5-minute chart. No, I think it's a 1-minute chart on the E-mini, and we are slipping a little. So we may very shortly, it looks like very quickly here, make new lows for the day, for the session. But we never got above the high of yesterday. And again, on the daily data, relative strength, ER, RSI scale, we didn't get overbought. But probably new lows just in a few minutes here. Next chart. We are overbought on the SPY, and it did gap up yesterday into overbought conditions, but I'm not getting a higher high for the spider at SPY, and therefore we're not going to have an outside down day, but it looks like we're about to make it below yesterday's low, and yesterday's up gap could go down as an exhaustion gap, and that implies the end of a swing up or down. They happen in both directions. So let's see how that pans out. I do like what I see. Remember, I'm trying to justify a move down into the October lows. The first level I'm expecting at a minimum is 565 on the SPY. The lows made a couple of weeks ago. It's pretty good support. But frankly, I'd be a lot happier with 540 on the downside. And frankly, my original thought was we were going to get all the way down to 510 and maybe even lower than that. So now at best, because we only got 3 weeks to go, less a day or two, 2.5 weeks to go, 510 is probably not particularly likely. So 540 is my favorite choice at this particular point. And that would be a decent low matching early September. We'll see what happens. Next, spider 1-minute chart, sliding off, probably going to make a new low. Now, we already has made a low lower than yesterday's low by a lot in the NASDAQ, the QQQ. And it has been very close to the low of last Friday, which is close to Thursday last week. So if we start making new lows for the day, for the session, I should say, then we're probably going to make new lows for the past 2 or 3 trading days. And at the bottom of this little support area, in other words, leading the way down, the upside potential exhaustion gap from Friday's high to Monday's low, yesterday's low, has been closed quite a while, hours ago. So that's done. The spider still has its gap to close. So we could have started something here. I just wish we would have been able to get above yesterday's high because we were overbought yesterday, and then we would have had a bearish engulfing. Now, this is going to look a little bit like a double top formation. We can't rule that out completely. Just point that out. But that is so bearish, it's not likely because that's the low between the two highs. And then you take that vertical measurement all the way down to here from the highs we just saw and double it downward. So not likely. Next, the 1 minute chart on the QQQ looks like it's about to make some new lows. The highs are lower ever since an effort to make a higher high during this session, and it didn't do it. Came very close. Breaking today's session lows will probably break the low on Friday and then Thursday and maybe even more. Next, natural NQ, NASDAQ. Not anywhere near the highs that we had back on July 11th, which was an ER sell signal on the very top of the market. We got a buy signal almost at the bottom of the market, a sell signal at the top of the rally. We got a buy signal at almost the bottom of the break, and that sell signal did not work out. Now we've popped up into a little bit of resistance. We didn't get overbought too bad. We're breaking minor lows from yesterday. I think we need to make some lower lows in order to get a lot more bearish, a lot more quickly. We're also at a previous bear trend line, which seemed to have some credibility the last few days. So we'll see if that holds or not. Next, NASDAQ 1 minute chart dropped off very sharply in here, forming somewhat of a pennant with a little flatter bottom, and usually the flatter sides are the ones that are broken. So I am expecting new lows. Next chart, YM did get above yesterday's high. Therefore, it can have a bearish engulfing and turn red because it is overbought yesterday and today, just slightly above 75, but that's the rule, 75 or higher. And we got up on the RSI yesterday to 75.37 and today 75.79. So if we make it below yesterday's low, we'll have an official red signal, hopefully as profound as this one, or that one, or that one. All three of those are significant highs. We got that exact low. That one didn't work. We got two buy signals around the bottom here. Let's see if we get a red one. I'd love that. Next, the YM stopped at a little resistance. Looks like it's about to slip off some more. I've got an alarm line set here, so I will get a audible and visual alarm when we get super close to an outside down day. Next, the Russell up in resistance, not quite overbought, but pretty close. And a prime spot for it to stop rallying. Maybe it's got a little tiny bit more strength. Hopefully that would be enough to get 75 or higher overbought. And then we might have a bearish engulfing and get a big signal. We haven't had one since that one, and that one didn't work. That buy signal was just great, bottom of the market. And this signal worked out okay. Now, the short-term Russell has been making new highs while these other indexes have been making new lows. There is obviously some significant realignment evolving here, or individual issues where a sector has been particularly weak or strong for some reason, strong in this case, that's in the Russell. Now, interest rates, bonds, I've done outstanding here. I put this yellow line on this chart back on either the September 24th or 5th, I think the 25th. And it started at this particular level only because I was depicting the future as to how the market might come down into my October time frame, which we are now in, and below 120, 20-ish, which begins support. So I wanted it to be inside this square. I got inside the square. Yesterday's low, well inside. A little more perfect forecast would have been down to these prices, 118.11, and around October 18th. But it could still happen. For today, it's the first day we've seen any significant rally. It's a new high for 3 days, and it's maintaining a fairly strong level here, and it could rally up a little bit more. We have been oversold, and the head and shoulder top formation, minimum downside objective, and here's the shoulder, there's the head, it's a little double top by itself, overbought, and there's the last shoulder high, fairly symmetrical, slightly upper slanted neckline. Downside breakout led to one day down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Finally, seventh day, a little bit of a rally. And then yesterday down again, 8. So 7 out of 8 days down. And today, a rally. I don't think it's going to go far. And I think it's going to come down to something like maybe a double bottom, maybe a little bit of a new low, getting oversold again. But I would not be upset if this turns out to be the lowest low. It is in October, and it is in my forecasted price range. So I'm looking for buy signals. I'm not getting them yet, but it's prime territory, time and price-wise, for this to start trending higher. And if it does that, I'm going to start talking about a larger, bigger head and shoulder bottom, and this will have been the last shoulder low on a 2-year head and shoulder bottom formation. Shoulder, October 22. Second shoulder. Head of the formation, October 23. First of 2 shoulders on the end, and this is approximately May of 24, and now October again, October of 24. For the last shoulder low we just might have seen yesterday. 10-year notes, almost exactly the same situation. Big pattern, double shoulder situation. I just haven't quite gotten down into my rectangle. The timing is right. The prices are not quite as low as I was looking for. I still have a chance to get down there for the 10-year notes, but this is good enough, not quite my forecast, to be the last shoulder on the head and shoulder bottom. The minimum downside objective for the small head and shoulder top has already happened days ago. The double top formation downside objective hopefully is still 10.5, and we hopefully will still get there. Now, I also have to point out that we did get an official ER sell signal smack dab on top of this market to the high day, and oh my, we're still short. An ER1 overnight and an ER3 overnight, a little bit higher price the next day after the red day, the signal day. Wow. This is, I think, about 3 or 4 point profit. Looks great. Each. And here's our stop. So we're getting close to getting out of the trade finally. But this has been a great trade. Next chart, we are looking into energies. This is the first time I've seen this in years. We have bearish engulfing sell signals in the energies across the board. Crude oil, last week, October 8th. Today, new low. New low close below previous lows, likely, and dropping off and not even close to oversold. I think it's going to come down to 66 and lower. We are still short from the ER3 overnight position from 2 days after the signal day on that rally, close to the high of the day, and it's working great. Heating oil, sell signal on October 8th. Bearish engulfing ER sell signal, red. 2 days later, we got short right there, ER3 overnight, and we're still short, new low, likely new low close since our short only 4 days ago. 1, 2, 3, 3 days ago, last Thursday. And looking great. I am expecting a move down to 2.09 and lower. RSI is not anywhere near oversold. Next, we have the natural gas sell signal on top. The high day. We had a short that we got stopped out of a couple of days ago, last Thursday. That was a great trade. I kind of wish we were still short. It is trading a lot lower. We could have loosened the stop on the way down and stayed short, but I didn't want to change my mind or change anything, so I left it the way it was. And I'm looking for a move down probably to the lowest lows, 2.26 or so. Now in gold, silver, platinum, copper, beans, oil, meal, corn, wheat, and lastly, cattle, hogs, we've got gold bearish engulfing several days ago, getting a lot firmer, stronger than I'd like, and almost it looks like making higher highs, but not quite, super close. I don't think that high was 90.6. Today's high is 85.9. So we're not quite, yep, higher than the signal day high. That does not mean that we had a losing or profitable trade one way or the other, but you can see the market dropped off immediately 2 or 3 days afterwards. So that was a good trade. Now silver topped out in an overbought condition in a resistance area and then had a divergence, new high in price, but not a new high in the indicator. So on that same day, we closed lower on the day, well below previous rally highs, and that's not good. And I said so. That's considered a bull trap. Failure to make when you make new highs for weeks and months, you should stay above previous highs and then have some more follow through. Because this didn't, I mentioned the fact that it could be a turning point. It's not a reversal per se, it's just something that happens frequently. Next chart. We got platinum. Doji, net change a little lower at the moment, not too much. Can't come up with a particular comment for the moment other than, hey, overbought, rally high. New high in resistance, unfortunately not overbought, but I'm alluding to the possibility of a head here. Remember, head and shoulders are my favorite pattern. I see a lot of them. I know them inside and out. And the last shoulder could have been yesterday's high and today's high. If we continue to start heading lower, I've already drawn in this downward slanting neckline, and the minimum downside objective, I'm just eyeballing it at the moment, would be approximately, at the bottom of the support area. Let's call it 895. Probably a little lower than that. So maybe, could be starting. Haven't got quite enough evidence yet. The copper sell signal on top today is a new low since our sell signal and entry 2 days later on an ER3 entry right there. So we are still short from a level of 4.64, give or take a squeak, on October 2nd. Currently 4.3345 current tick, and almost low and last, and a new low ground, and it looks like it's going to close below previous lows and maybe break out of this support level because it's not oversold, 34, and I think it's going to drop off all the way down below 4.1. But probably there's going to be one or maybe two bounces on the way down. Okay, soybeans, now oversold for the second day in a row. Hasn't been oversold since the middle of August, a couple of months ago, when it bottomed out with a bullish signal at the beginning of the rally. Great. That one was okay short term. No signal on the top of the rally, unfortunately. Now I think we're pretty close to a minor rally, but I am still bearish all the way down to I don't know, below 960 and maybe into new low ground completely. I cannot justify so far any kind of a major bottom formation developing in grains, period. Soybean oil, two sell signals on the highs of the rally, almost the highest high, not quite. The last sell signal we're still short from, and today's rally after a new low kind of looks like we might be taking a profit pretty soon. We sold it at 43.70-ish, and we're at 42.50, so we got a little profit, not a huge one, but our stop is pretty darn close now, right here, 42.76, give or take a tick or two, and we're 42.53 near the high and very close to getting bumped out with a profit. I am still a little bit more bearish. We'll see what happens. Looking for tests of lows here. Meal, no sell signal on top, no position, but now, first time in a couple of months, we're oversold. Could get more oversold, could get down to support and the bull trend line both. But I think we're getting closer and closer to a turning point back up again. Meal is the only grain that hasn't made new lows for many months. And we did, that's great, get a buy signal at the bottom of that bear move, February 29th of this year, and the beginning of that move where we got a sell signal in the high. I've developed the ER signals strategy, automated 100%, to pick not only major turning points, intermediate to long-term investor type turning points, but also short-term. If you're going to pick the top for 6 months, you know damn well it's going to be a good trade short-term also. Well, probably. Highly likely. Next. Corn. Sell signal a couple days ago. We're still short not only ER1 overnight, right here with that stop and that trade line, but we're also short ER3 overnight from a slightly higher price, which was 2 ticks from the high of the day on October 10th. Almost a bullseye to the tick. Still short both of them. We are 401 right now, and our average short, I'm going to say 420, maybe 421, but right in that ballpark. Looking good. A grand each. Next. Wheat. New lows, no signals, overbought, in resistance, topped out. So looking for it to slip off probably to 564 easily and maybe challenge the whole low of the whole damn trend. Cattle. Resistance, overbought conditions is turning it down. Today we have a new low for approximately 2 weeks. And we're 100% below the resistance area, where for the previous 4 days, we were touching resistance or eating into it just a little bit with a sell signal that did not work. But again, these signals are not only the extremely good turning points, but they're close to sometimes the highest high and lowest lows. Oh, by the way, I'm looking at other screens. I got 3 big monitors here, and I'm noticing something. Let me go quickly to the indexes real fast. Well, I can go to the hogs because they're the last one. Not much to say. Overbought in a resistance area, starting to turn down. Now the E-mini, almost low and last. New lows for this session on the E-mini, getting super close to closing the gap for the QQQ and the spider. The Qs did do it. The spider is now starting to make new lows for the session just a few minutes ago. Also, you expect weakness across the board here. I'm looking for my alarm line. I think that was the YM, which is coming up in a second. And here it is. Yep, I need to get down to 4302, but it's now making some minor new lows. Not coming down as fast as the others. But this is going to generate the signal, red, bearish, engulfing. If we get a little bit below this alarm line, and I should drop it to exactly that level, because that's going to generate the signal. But I want to know slightly before it happens, so I'm going to put it back there. Have a great day. and profitable trading to you.